Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Weekly. It's the man they call Meathead, joined by the lovely Linda Kay, lovely indeed, and lovely Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas, go ahead and lead us in. What is going on for you this fine Monday morning?
Oh my goodness, just so glad to reconvene. And this is going to be a big episode with some potential PWR fantasy draft roster shakeups here. We are getting
It's time to shake things up again.
We are getting ready to lock for the year. So, I think that now we're a little bit closer to the road to WrestleMania. We might have a little better idea of what we want that locked roster to look like.
All right. The lock is the beginning to the road to WrestleMania. Once the rosters lock, the road is on its way. Linda Kay, as lovely as ever. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing tremendous as always. We had an awesome show here in the greater Milwaukee area this past Saturday night, Cedarburg, Wisconsin for GLCW Winter Warfare. So that was a lot of fun to do. We had a packed house. Thank you to all our fans who come by, say hello, puts their butts in the seats. You get top-notch performances as well. So make sure don't miss out next month. I'll fill you in. All right.
Anything going on OVW-wise, Linda Kay? I know that you're the road warrior that you are. How's good old Ohio Valley Wrestling doing for you?
Doing great. Things are just shaping up. We got a couple matches lined up for our next
time to shape things up again.
Our next TV special, which will be Tough Love. It's not going to be a Saturday night pay-per-view, but it's going to be a weekday Thursday night special. As you know, we're live every Thursday night on Fight TV. So it's going to be Thursday night, February 2nd. I will be making my way back down to the Ville for that one. But yeah, things are shaping up for Tough Love as well. So things are great on all fronts.
Matthew, how are we shaping up as far as sponsorships goes? We're all wearing it. I know, Linda, you got it. I know, Matthew, you got something Waukesha based, and I obviously rocking my hoodie with the collar and elbow. Matthew Thomas, tell us all about it.
It look great going into the new year, going into the Royal Rumble season, going into the lock, going into Valentine's Day, going into St. Patrick's Day, going into Tax Day, going into Memorial Day, whatever holiday you want to look great going into.
I like going into mattress sales days with President's Day.
Well, I bet you can barter a better deal at a mattress sale if you're wearing a comfortable collar and elbow brand apparel available exclusively at collarandelbowbrand.com, as seen right there.
Prepping for St. Patrick's Day. You mentioned St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. That's right.
Perfect. I get to pull out my Irish whip.
Perfect. Collarandelbowbrand.com, promo code Linda K saves you 10% off of your order.
Linda, what else do we got?
We have our friends at ProWrestlingInsurance.com, in particular, Chris. Make sure to contact Chris to find out how you can be covered anytime, anywhere, should something happen. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring. You don't have to be a pro wrestler necessarily. It is insurance coverage for everybody. And let me specify, it is supplemental coverage. It is separate from regular health insurance. But with the supplemental coverage, you can get it as low as $8 a month to make sure that, let's just say you get hurt. Like, I think there was a recent roller rink accident between one of us, or incident, I should say.
I'm okay now. We're okay. Got the people's elbow on the parquet.
Yes, that you are covered, where you get paid if you get hurt. So find out a little bit more about that from Chris. There's also event coverage. If you are a promoter looking to hold an event, make sure your butt is covered as well. And of course, the life insurance policies. So ProWrestlingInsurance.com. Make sure to see Chris to get more info on that.
All right. I know we came in with the fire, we came in with the heat, and we're all excited, right? We got to dial it back a little bit. When we were recording last week, Tuesday, we had a special Tuesday edition. This did not hit the air for us while we recorded, and the news was hitting as we were hitting the air and putting our content out there. We got to talk about it. Last week, Tuesday, in a car accident, mid-afternoon, I believe it was, in Connecticut. Was it Connecticut or was it? It was somewhere up in
Delaware, I believe.
Delaware, yeah, it was somewhere up in the Northeast. But a multiple-time tag team champion, former world champion from Ring of Honor, and just really the heart and soul of Ring of Honor. I believe he's one of the very few Ring of Honor Hall of Fame members as well. We lost at Briscoe. Jamin Pugh, otherwise known as Jay Briscoe, tragically passing in a car accident, was hit head on by another driver when they left their lane. And Also, his daughters were in the car. Now, there is good news on the daughters' front. They are recovering. They were listed in critical condition, but the driver of the other vehicle having passed, and we've also lost Jay Briscoe as well. Now, we're going to talk about it a little bit here, and I don't want to go too deep into my feelings on it because it kind of gets me hot. But with Jay Briscoe passing, it was mentioned on NXT. It was mentioned on SmackDown. It was mentioned on Impact because remember, the Briscoe brothers were also former Impact Tag Team Champions. It was mentioned briefly on AEW television. You got to remember, Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor as he owns AEW. And it is not Tony Khan's fault that it was not mentioned. HBO Discovery, the owners of TBS, TNT, said 100% do not show that man's face on our network. Linda Kay, we'll start with you, and then we'll come to Matthew to kind of wrap it together. Your thoughts on the ability to have a tribute show, a tribute to Jay Briscoe being pulled for them by the network, the very network that they're on.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to hear. I mean, I know there's been, their issues or feelings toward the Briscoes, but for something so tragic and something affecting somebody who has made such a history, within pro wrestling, and you have a top promotion, and that, being Dynamite, that being a top show, I'm assuming on the network itself.
It's their number one show. Let's just be clear about it.
Yeah. That having some type of tribute more than, I believe it was just Excalibur at the end mentioning our thoughts are with the Briscoes.
Well, they were able to mention it throughout the show. During the show, you'll see. You saw the different armbands that were on. The Young Bucks obviously had a great rivalry with them in Ring of Honor, and they said they love Jay on theirs. You also saw Briscoe on the arms and some others, but Excalibur and Tony and Taz were able to mention it, but they were not able to show the man's face.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wish this could have been something where they could have looked past, whatever feelings they have toward the Briscoes, just with something tragic like this, and something that does affect a lot of their viewers, a lot of the talents of this huge show on the network, the number one show, as you just mentioned. And it's one of those things where I was watching NXT as well, so I did see it live when Vic Joseph and Booker T did mention that, and that's great to see that other promotions, obviously showing their respects, but
it's the proper way to go.
Yeah, it's so just crazy how it's like the promotion that Jay Briscoe was with can't even give the proper, 10 salute and whatnot.
Matthew Thomas, they were able to film a tribute show after they had went off the air. Tony Khan has made it clear, and we don't know when it's going to show up, but Tony Khan has made it clear that that tribute show will be live and absolutely free to everybody on the Ring of Honor channel. It'll be available on the YouTube page when it's up and ready to go. And the next pay-per-view from Ring of Honor will be dedicated to Jay Briscoe. Matthew, your thoughts on the corporate? I'm trying to come up with a word that's politically correct and not just dropping bombs. Yeah.
It's ideology, and it's a practice of thoughts that you come out of the womb a fully formed and fully developed human, and that you are capable of, from day one, when you take your first breath, you do not grow. You are basically, you have got a slate where you can have nothing but X's against you that you can never fully recover from. Okay, so this comes down to a tweet he made in 2013, I believe it was, 10 years ago.
12 or 13, it was 10 years.
That was wrong, that was distasteful, that he apologized for, presumably multiple times. But in this school of thought, no matter how long ago, maybe if this was something he did when he was 2 or 3 years old, okay, maybe they'd have given him, maybe I was wrong by saying he's got to be fully developed when he comes out of the womb. Maybe they'd have given him some grace if he did this when he was 3 or 4 years old. But basically, this is the school of thought that you screw up and you can never get back from it. You can never, you can never be forgiven. You can never grow and say, I was wrong, I screwed up. This is where we're at, not just with them, but this is where we're at largely as a society with this type of stuff. You can look at people who are on the channel as far as the double standards, the people that are still on that network, not just on AEW, but on various shows that, don't have that clean of a record. But,
they were airing the Grizzlies shows, whatever it is. Isn't dude going to jail?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. No, but it is that mindset that, and you look at where, not just him, but you look at where there's a lot of people 10 years ago who, were not as, who held opinions about things that they have since changed in 10 years. And they feel, they feel a lot different and embarrassed probably by stuff. There are people that, a lot of us screwed up yesterday, and see what we could have done differently.
I should have had this show started 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we're talking this afternoon, not to make light of it. But yes.
We knew that this was out there. We knew that, that's why we hadn't seen them on TV. But this fact of the matter is the dude dies, and he's got 2 daughters in horrible shape. And they just are so concerned about how it would play
their corporate image
to a 38-year-old who was killed in a car wreck. They're so concerned about that they don't have the grace to forgive somebody about an errant wrong comment that he made. And go back and look at the outpouring of people who knew this guy, the outpouring of support of people who knew this guy, gay, straight, whatever race. Like, there's nothing but good things about this guy to be said.
There's love.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that, we promote this message in corporate culture and in whatever that, once you screw up, that's it. You basically, whether it be in a freaking, high school or whatever, and that's the thing. I mean, that's the society we live in with the technology right now, where you put something out there, it's out there for, forever. And it's an interesting time that we live in. But just the simple fact, I think, at some point as a society, if we can get past this and we can actually put things in perspective and look at this time period where basically, and these decision makers who call this, who said, hey, they're not going to air, or now the guy's dead, we're not going to air the tribute. What's their track record look like? Have they made every decision in their life? Is there nothing they regret? Is there nothing, just the lack of this thought process of we're not going to give people grace. We're not going to accept apologies. We're not going to allow people to grow and say they were wrong. Right. You are setting yourself up for a societal mess.
Yeah. So let's just hope that anybody making decisions for HBO Discovery or Turner or whatever, let's just hope they're not one of those Hollywood pedophiles or anything like that. But let's move on, right? I mean, let's hope that they're perfect. Let's move on. You know who gave the best tribute by far was Impact Wrestling, because obviously they played a nice little video package. Briscoe's former tag team champions. Did you know that there was a former WWE talent that actually debuted at Impact last week? Big name talent, former legend WWE wrestler. It was the Brooklyn Brawler. I didn't mean to set everybody up and kind of swing it back up here, but Matthew Thomas, the Brawler.
Right?
No, that's Barry Horowitz. Was it Brawler or Horowitz?
Horowitz.
It was Horowitz. You're right. It was Barry Horowitz, who used to have.
Brawler is who we might see at the Rumble. There's always the surprise.
Yeah. All right, so Barry Horowitz. My bad. Those guys were such legends. I used to get them crossed up. It's kind of like saying, Hulk Hogan and let's say, who's the guy that helped out Carmella go up the ladder. I always got those guys crossed up. James Ellsworth. Yes, I got James Ellsworth and Hulk Hogan crossed up. Anyways.
Horowitz and the Brawler actually have a one-on-one match.
Probably. They probably had a feud back in 1984.
Dude, I don't know. With them being used as enhancement talents, I don't know that we ever saw them. That could be. Talk to Dave. See if we can't get that booked for next.
Yeah. Matthew, Barry Horowitz, he's here. Anything to add?
I think it's just one of those. It's kind of something they were hoping would be another viral little nugget. Hey, it's got us talking about it. We don't necessarily talk about Impact every week, and it's something, man, we live in a freaking clip culture right now, where it's not, it's the 20, 30-second clips that go viral on various social media.
Exactly.
So I think they wanted to see, basically kind of speak to that.
Linda, in the middle of the match, the Kiss Demon from WCW showed up.
Yes. Some more legendary surprises there at Impact.
And that's all I've got for that. So last week on Raw, we really just had a setup for this week's show. So tonight on Raw, it is Raw XXX, Raw 30. The list of legends is growing for this particular show. So far, I believe we've got names like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, DX minus obviously Daddy Ass. Maybe we'll get a Daddy Ass mention like we got the last time that they were on air, where they kind of mentioned it a little bit, but not really. Undertaker will be showing up too. Now, which Undertaker do we get? Do we get the stoic 47-minute entrance Undertaker? Are we going to get the badass biker who's going to come out and jump on the microphone? That's the guy I kind of want, right? The preview picture obviously is Undertaker with a ball cap backwards in a leather jacket and his braid going down the side, and that's the badass biker Undertaker that I want. Let me mention this as well, Linda, and I want to hear your thoughts. This was supposed to be an acknowledgement ceremony tonight. It is no longer an acknowledgement ceremony. The Bloodline will hold tribal court for Sami Zayn. Dong, dong, dong.
Interesting.
That beard's not as fluffy anymore. He's looking kind of bummed.
That's another good observation. I wonder if internally, if maybe not everybody who was supposed to be at the tribute, or maybe it was just supposed to be the current Bloodline that we see week to week. But obviously things.
Because we were told, Linda, every member of the Bloodline was supposed to be there, past and present, meaning Kishi, meaning Afa, Sika, if they're still around. Those members of the Bloodline. And, I smell that there might have been a change.
I smell that too, because this is news to me.
Sorry.
So, pardon myself. So, a court here. That should be interesting. I know we haven't touched on SmackDown yet from last week, but as we know, things are getting a little bit tricky, but still, we're just still getting teased. We're getting where there's more, instead of a dissension from the Usos with Sami, it's coming straight from the tribal chief. So that makes things really interesting. And we're not quite at the Rumble. That would be next. No, it is this week.
Rumble is this coming Saturday. This is the go home.
Raw go home show. Okay.
Raw 30 is the go home.
Yes. And that close to the road to WrestleMania. Wow. If they're changing it like this, I feel that perhaps some guests that were there to acknowledge could no longer acknowledge tonight in Philly. So,
and I acknowledge that we haven't talked about SmackDown yet, Linda. So I'm going to transition over to Matthew and ask, what happened on SmackDown on Friday night? Does that bring us to tonight, Matthew, with Sami Zayn? Will they have to acknowledge this trial, and it's a tribal court instead of an acknowledgement ceremony?
Yeah, so I will say this. Don't fear about not seeing some of your favorite Bloodline talent of the past. I think you're still going to get them. I think they're going to be your jury, okay? I think they are be featured slightly different. So I think the names are still going to be there. I think we're still going to have a lot of fun with it. And that, as great as Sami has been in this, you really look back at this whole story arc, we haven't seen much kind of entertainment segments announced ahead of time, right? We've gotten the great moment of Jay not being Uzi enough. We've gotten stuff that just materializes week to week. So I'm really excited to see Sami in a little bit more of kind of a gimmick segment like this. I think his chops can really come out here. But no, you're right. Going back to SmackDown, the tension is starting to really simmer now.
Yeah. It's bubbling like water.
From week to week. Okay, this whole turn is not going to happen like Seth Rollins turning on the Shield all those years ago. I think we're just being set, okay, this is the way it's going. We're telegraphing it week to week.
I can hear the theme music starting already for it. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. Sami Zayn, member of the Bloodline. Now, in contempt. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom. I feel like I hear the People's Court music just playing right in my head.
People's Court segment from, I want to say, the early mid-2000s as well.
Isn't that how Bischoff got fired?
I don't fully remember.
Because remember, they did a court scene where McMahon was the judge, and then they shoved Bischoff into the garbage.
So it's bloodline related, but can we please have Joseph Park in this segment?
Oh yes.
Because we need the law firm of Park and Park.
Oh, please have him on this segment.
That would be amazingly tremendous. That would be amazingly tremendous. All right, Linda, so you were right, and now I'm coming back to you again. Last Friday on SmackDown, I don't really have a bunch to break down because the bloodline is one and only, the top story. However, we did get number one contenders for the, or actually, no, we're set up for it because it's a tournament. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're set up for a tournament. So we're going to have a couple teams going at it to find out who the number one contenders are for the Usos. But really, I want to talk about the continuation and the build to the Pitch Black match. LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, and it's getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I mean, we did not get Uncle Howdy at SmackDown.
Yeah, Uncle Howdy was not there, was he?
But we got the return of the Firefly Funhouse.
You and I better be two friends, and this is a club that'll never ever end. Something like that.
Yeah, so that was a unique twist. Nice. Just, this whole thing with Bray, I'm enjoying it, and it is stuff feeling that this Pitch Black match. I mean, just weird, quirky things happening. And then tonight we've got Alexa on Raw, so perhaps something continue there. I mean, we had Uncle Howdy at Raw last time, so perhaps Uncle Howdy tonight. I mean, at Raw XXX.
Yeah, let me ask you, Matthew, real quick. Is Hit Row a heel tag team now?
Absolutely, yeah. I think they turned last week, if I'm not mistaken. So
okay. They beat Los Lotharios, and they're going to continue on in the tournament.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where this goes. But yeah, I mean, they were brought back 2 or 3 months ago, maybe a little longer than that now. So yeah. It'll be interesting to see kind of how these guys,
Howdy. There you go.
Cool. I like this turn for them, though. I think after the top rope incident and them making fun of them, I think it was a nice way to get them to be a bit more edgier. And
you take that heat that's there and you just grab it and run with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. This is a heel tag.
And then finally, at the end of the night, we did have Kevin Owens basically putting Roman Reigns right through the table, signing the contract and giving it right to Paul Heyman.
Yeah, it's so big, and I don't think that KO has much of a chance of taking this title off of Roman, but we're going to a point now where I think come WrestleMania, man, I don't think after WrestleMania, I think Roman's reign is done. I don't think he has any titles, and I think you have to split the titles at some point. So
and throw one on KO at some point.
Completely disregard, what's happening with here or, whatever his next singles matches might be. Because you're getting a little bit closer to, I think, this long, really the longest reign of the modern era. Yeah. Because prior to this, it was Punk, right? And that was 434 days.
Something like that, yeah.
He's almost doubled this.
Matthew, Kevin Owens now wrestling against Roman Reigns in 2 of the last 3 Royal Rumbles pay-per-views. Because remember, he had that amazing backstage Thunderdome match with Roman Reigns in 2021.
Yeah. No, I think these two match up really, really good, and we'll get an outstanding wrestling match. The thing with this one that we didn't have a few years ago, he is such a linchpin in the whole Sammy storyline, too. So you'll have the great match, but you've got a much more storyline-driven match as well.
All right, Matthew, let's go AEW. Dynamite. We had Darby Allin against a debuting Kushida, who had seen an Impact and who is also still wrestling at Impact as well. This is his first time on Dynamite, and he gets a TNT Championship title shot. We had the Young Bucks and Top Flight. Top Flight looking absolutely solid. Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal for the All-Atlantic Championship. Hangman Page talking to Renee Paquette about her husband, Jon Moxley. Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm. Bryan Danielson took on Bandito. And Jake Hager and Ricky Starks and that stupid hat.
Yeah.
What a packed night of Dynamite that we had. Let's start with Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal, right? Because here comes Satnam Singh, here comes Sanjay Dutt, and here comes Jeff Jarrett. They're doing the gimmick with, I bought a ringside seat. If anybody interferes, it's Sanjay Dutt that gets fired. Danhausen, dressed as the people that work for the building, go, nah, it's a legit ticket. It's okay. And then here comes Chuck and Trent. They're wearing their gimmicks and they got popcorn. And I really thought that there was going to be more to that. I thought that was pretty classic, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I will say this, though, just to kind of speak to this show as a whole. AEW is at that point where they're between pay-per-views. Our last one was in November. We don't have another one until March. So kind of where we're at with AEW right now, I'm kind of grasping for an overall storyline in all of these shows. These are some great self-contained segment. These are some great matches. But AEW several years in, while a lot of us really appreciate, not having a pay-per-view every month, I think there are times like this stretch from November to March where you're kind of in a weird spot, because what they have been prone to do in the last several years is a lot of times you'll have a ton of matches announced, 2 weeks or so prior. They're kind of changing that a little bit with this MJF and Danielson storyline. But, we're going to see this play out over the course of like 2 months, and you're trying to kind of fill in the rest. To me, when I watched AEW last week, it felt more like a self-contained show without any greater build or concept. And I think they kind of get back and focus on those
we have some smaller stories that are in there. You mentioned MJF and Bryan Danielson. Let's talk about Willow Nightingale and Tony Storm. We have basically Saraya and Tony Storm kind of teetering towards heel in there. We also have
their heel now after that.
Yeah. We also have, the kind of the building of what's going on with Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. That continues to build as well. And the Young Bucks, I think, are being kind of shoved down our throats as faces. Linda Kay, Dynamite overall. What are you thinking?
Action-packed, a lot happening there. To your point too, Matthew, you're talking about how the next pay-per-view isn't, we're going to get like 2 months of something extended. It really registered when MJF was talking to Daniel Bryan, saying like, at Revolution on March 5th. I'm like, March 5th? Like, that's still quite a ways away. What can they do each week to really keep this, hot?
Because they are going from November to March, they threw a Battle of the Belts in there in between.
Yeah.
But when have we had a belt change on Battle of the Belts?
Yeah.
But I do like the little things that happened, or not little things, but something that's the start of something that could be big. Let me rephrase that. With Saraya and Tony Storm attacking Willow, and then you had, my God, blinking right now.
I almost said Kushida. No, her name is
Cheetah.
Yeah, I don't know why I had Kushida in my.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, no. And then Ruby coming out as well. So obviously something happening there.
Well, at least she got those cuts closed, because she was bleeding all over the place last week Friday.
Yeah. So that, and also just the thing with Hangman talking to Renee. Interesting. I like how they just, adjust real life with that. And Hangman's like, I'm cool with you. Okay.
Well, you know what they could use, Linda? Because they got 2 words for us: family therapy.
Yeah.
But that family therapy is going to be this Wednesday, coming up with the Ass Boys and the Acclaim. So Daddy Ass gonna kind of see over some therapy. I really do think, Matthew, that this is going to take us to a match between the Ass Boys and the Acclaim, and this one will take us to Revolution.
Yeah, this will be fun. And I mean, we're having on Monday, we're having a tribal court, and then on Wednesday we're having family therapy. So I think there's some great entertainment on the horizon this week.
Any reference in the family therapy on Wednesday about his old family, the DX family? And any mention in DX about how Billy might be going through therapy?
I think this could be really fun.
All right. Well, that was Dynamite. So let's kind of move over to Rampage as well. Rampage had Brian Cage and Willie Mack. We've had Willie Mack, Linda, in GLCW before, and I love Willie Mack. I mean, he's a ROH mainstay as well. He took on the Machine, Brian Cage. You had Daniel Garcia against Action Andretti. Action Andretti literally leading the charge on Rampage. He's been in a high-profile thing with Ricky Starks, kind of getting the rub up with the Inner Circle. It started off with Ethan Page and Jungle Jack Perry, and we're going to get another match coming up this Wednesday. It'll be Jungle Hook against Ethan Page and was it Lee Moriarty with Ethan Page? I believe so. Yeah.
So,
Maybe. But hey, we're getting another match, with Jungle Hook, which we thought was initially going to be a one-off thing. I love how Ethan Page would say, "How about one more time or another
it's
time?"
I take it back. It's Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
I
Oh,
think so.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. But
So
you already
Page
kind of
and Hardy.
saw Ethan Page and Matt Hardy already kind of like having some type of heat.
Yeah.
if you
Oh,
will.
they've got heat. Yeah. Ethan Page, I just need him not to yell once because that's his thing, which he's intense, but the angry, just yelling, that's a little bit too much. I did like the little promo that we got from MJF towards Brian Cage where MJF just slapped Brian Cage. Oh my God. MJF has got a set on him. But Prince Nana and Brian Cage liked how thick that envelope was and how much money was in it.
And I think our Rampages are starting to be, it seems like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, a little bit more storyline driven. I'll go back to what I said about Dynamite earlier. It seems the other side of that equation is we do have a lot of smaller self-contained storylines. You don't know how long they're going to last, but you are seeing more storyline development on Rampage, which I think is
we had Eddie Kingston turning on Ortiz and basically smacking him in the back with a chair. So has the House of Black gotten what they wanted out of Eddie Kingston? Matthew Thomas.
I think so. And this is I think all of these people pair up very well together. So this is actually one of the more interesting storylines to me in AEW right now.
Okay. We kind of rushed through the week's events, right? Because we have a very big pay-per-view coming up this Saturday. First off, let us lead with the PWR Fantasy Draft for 22-23, and let us talk about the standings. In first place, Linda Kay, team long time, 3,255 points. In second place, but very close, 3,165 points, the team they call Meatheads. And then last, distant last, team Nelson Matt Della.
Yes.
Is that what we're calling you this year?
Yeah.
2,610 points. Here's why I bring this up. The Royal Rumble. We open up the pay-per-view. All the picks are now open. The window is open to make changes for the pay-per-view. At the beginning of the pay-per-view, it locks for that particular pay-per-view. At the end of the pay-per-view, our rosters are locked, for the 22-23 season. So, Linda Kay, Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead, are going to make one pick here on the air, and then throughout the week, the rosters may move up and down. We're going to go in reverse order, Matthew, because you're so desperately behind. Tell me your pick. Who are you dropping? Who are you picking up? And we will do this live on the air right now.
So the word lock has been used a lot here today, and this is going to come into play here very soon. When we started this year, Meathead, you instituted a new rule that we had not seen in previous incarnations of the PWR draft called the Judgment Day rule. And rosters here, it occurred to me, while the man they call Meathead has Judgment Day, technically he has not locked Rhea Ripley. So with that, I do hereby drop AJ Styles and pick up Rhea Ripley to Team Nelson Mandela. Yes, I do.
Wow, look at that. Hey now. As I delete AJ Styles and add in RHEA RIPLEY, Rhea Ripley, part of Team Nelson Mandela. I am the man they call Meathead, and I will be going next. And, as I look, I'm not going to drag it out like Matthew did. I will be, I'm going up and down the list again here. Where am I? I'll be dropping Nikki Cross. Okay. That's who I'm going to drop. I won't be using Nikki Cross. Now, the pickup. You speak of Judgment Day, and it's ironic that you brought that up because I'm also bringing up somebody that created Judgment Day.
Ooh.
No longer in Judgment Day. But on this day, I see clearly to picking up Edge.
Oh. Bold prediction. I kind of forgot about Edge. That timing should be great to have him in there to stir some trouble there for Judgment Day, the Rumble.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Linda K, who are you dropping? Who are you picking up?
Well, this person I'm dropping recently got a haircut due to Samoa Joe.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Tossing his hair out. Oh, no, he didn't. I know, Matthew, you were there and you were hoping for that.
I was there, and if you go back and watch the video, I wanted Joe to throw it to me. I wanted to catch his.
I wanted him to go. That's what I wanted.
Gosh, we haven't seen Wardlow back. So with that being said, Team Longtime will be dropping Wardlow and acquiring someone that I'm very pleased you guys did not pick because I had mentioned this once, not realizing that the window was not open for the draft yet. I pick up SmackDown's Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Yes. Glad that worked out.
And every time I type Charlotte, I realize I just misspelled it. I'll fix it later in post. So, to recap, Matthew Thomas dropping AJ Styles to pick up Rhea Ripley, a possible winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. You know, Matthew Thomas also has a returning and coming back and declaring for the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes. Could Matthew Thomas win both Rumbles again?
I think there's a good shot. And
he's got a shot.
Just so you know, Team Nelson Mandela's moves are not done yet.
Well, these are the moves we're doing on air here. The man they call Meathead picking up Edge and Linda Kay, grabbing Charlotte Flair. All right, now let's talk about the Royal Rumble. Draft aside, I'm going to start with Linda Kay. Linda, I want a men's pick and a women's pick.
Cody, and I think Matthew's going to do this, Rhea.
Matthew Thomas, men's and women's.
I'm going to fall in line with Linda. I think that's it.
I don't want to agree with both of you. And just for the sake of not agreeing, I will agree on Cody Rhodes. I think we've talked many, many years over this. The phrase that I've kind of maybe started leaning in, and you guys agree, and we all agree, what is the show built for? This is built for Cody Rhodes. This Royal Rumble match is built for Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the winner of the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. However, let's change it up for the women. Ronda Rousey's not doing anything, and I don't see any reason why she wouldn't win the Women's Royal Rumble again.
Hey, that's a great idea too. I like that one as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Royal Rumble this Saturday on the Peacock Network. We will have our rosters locked, and coming up next week, we will have an amazing show for you to break down everything. Does the People's Champion show up as well?
Mm-hmm. Oh, can I also mention our next GLCW show since we just finished our January show? So we it's already been announced, and I mentioned it numerous times during the show Saturday night. But for those who can make it to Cedarburg, Wisconsin, Circle B, home of GLCW, that's not Blizzard Brawl show, but GLCW proper. On Saturday night, February 25th, we're going to see somebody who's going to be at Raw 30, Raw XXX, as we like to say tonight. And that would
Well, why don't you break it down for us?
Exactly. Sean X-Pac Weltman will be our special guest next time at Circle B. That's Saturday night, February 25th for Break It Down. BlizzardBrawl.com for tickets. And also, I just want to mention, I talked about this before we went on the air, guys. And we mentioned it briefly last week, but just selfless.
William H. Macy. Yep, go ahead.
That lovely LindaK.com is up and running. Still going to a work in progress. I'm going to keep this.
Hold on. No, let me keep talking. I'm going to browse to it now. All right.
Okay, but.
Whoa!
Well, yeah, check it out, everybody. LovelyLindaK.com. Just kind of something I've been trying to get done for a while now. I've got so much content between matches, pictures. I mean, more of the announcing. A couple of my matches are in there, but just something fun to just, I for me being in the media I'm still a little shy about some things. So I'm finally getting out of my shell a little bit more. I have a thing about my upbringing, and I know many of you know I've watched wrestling my whole life. You'll see a little bit more insight on that as well. And got some merch up there. I've got my Linda calendar that's still available. It is a 13-month calendar, so it is January to January. So while it's for the end of January, you still have a full 12 months, or you can keep it on any month you like. That is your favorite. But outside of that, you know, I have my gimmick tables at the indie shows, but we've got my new 8x10s. I just got a shoot done. Check it out. And yeah, just that's my big news. But I've been spending a lot of my time on.
Sorry, I lost track of things there. All right. But yeah, 8x10s, the keychain is there, or the Linda K chain. Sorry, I didn't want to get it wrong. And that K calendar as well. So that is absolutely tremendous. Can we get any of the stuff at the GLCW shows as well?
Absolutely. I have that stuff with me at the tables. Thanks to those who came by, said hello, got some 8x10s from this past weekend. But it's nice now to have this online platform. I'll be plugging this on the socials in addition to PWR today or weekly. And we have, of course, us up on lovelylindakay.com as well. You can just click the link on there as well and, you know, support us. We have a lot of great stuff we tell you each and every week.
Yeah.
Make sure to spread the word.
And you know, I know you've been explaining the whole thing, but I'm literally lost in the website. So go ahead, check out the lovely Linda K. It's lovelylindakay.com. lovelylindakay.com. And again, about Linda K on the mic, in the ring, Linda K swag. It's all right there. Connect with her on the socials as well. Matthew Thomas, come back to the show with us because I know that you've been looking at the website there, buddy.
Oh, absolutely. I've got that in one tab, and then I wanted a full card for tonight's Raw, so I've got my Google search results for Raw XXX in the other.
Well, I mean, we went from lovely Linda K to XXX, so I mean, it's all just kind of, it's all a synergy there.
That's the
cool. Make sure that you're checking out everything that we've set up for you. Make sure you're talking to Collar and Elbow. Make sure you're getting pro wrestling insurance, lovelylindakay.com. And we will be back next week with more. For Matthew Thomas, for the lovely Linda K, I'm the man they call Meathead. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you next week. So long, everyone.